This is lines 128 to 136 of Ovid's account of the story of Pyramus and Thisbe in his Metamorphoses. And we begin in 128 with Ecce, which is Ovid's way to redirect the audience and look at a new part of this image that he's putting in front of us. And so here he says, "Behold, look." And we have an ablative absolute here with her fear, and we know it's her because we get the illa down here below, but with her fear not yet having been posito, and that means placed. And at this point, a Roman audience would assume that there is a natural syncopation here, or an inference of de posito. So with her fear not yet put aside or not yet lost, put down, so that she does not deceive her lover, she returns. And she looks for her young man, or the young man, with her eyes and her heart, her soul, her spirit. And so one could maybe argue that there's a bit of a zeugma here going on, that you can't require it with your eyes in the same way that you can require it with your heart. But nonetheless, she is yearning to meet up with him, and that's exactly what Ovid says in line 130. So she guessed it. She yearns. She longs to narrate, to tell quanta pericola, what great dangers she has avoided. And so there's a couple things here. One is that the quanta pericola vitaret is an indirect question. We have the interrogative adjective here, quanta, with pericola. And we have vitaverit, so the syncopation of that perfect subjunctive verb. And as we have the place, and with something seen, she learns, and then in a tree, and then shape. So as she recognizes both the place, or really, and as she recognizes the place and the shape in the tree having been seen. So in other words, she comes out of this cave and she sees the scene, and she recognizes it. So she sees the place, and she sees the shape that's contained in this tree that she has already seen. She feels like she's in a familiar place. And seek means in this way or thus, and Lafleur says maybe suggests an alternate, but at the same time maybe is a good translation here. She makes herself uncertain, and then we figure out she is not the subject, but the color palmi, so the color of the berries, of the fruit, makes her uncertain. And then notice we have these really kind of staccato, almost a lack of conjunctions here. And so she stops, right? She clings there, she sticks there, she hesitates. Whether this is the place, right? Whether this is the tree, the color that she's seen before. And while she hesitates, while she doubts, trembling, she sees. And again, this is Ovid playing with us a little bit. We would think it would make sense that she would be tremabunda, that she would be trembling because she's not sure and she's starting to get a little bit worried. She, trembling, sees, and then something is beating, and then something bloody. So now we know that she has seen Pyramus's body, and we get the two words here in a nice enjambment that wrap everything together. So it's not her that's trembling, it's not she trembling, it's that she sees the trembling membra, limbs, arms of Pyramus's body pulsating on or beating the cruentum solum, the bloody ground. So Pyramus isn't quite dead yet. He's in the throes of death, and he might be spasming or something else. And her reaction is, I think, a very human one. And so she took a step backwards. And her face, so remember, os oris means mouth, but we can say that this is a synecdoche for her entire face. And then we get byre with boxwood, which is like a real pale, white almost colored wood. And then we get the reason that that is ablative. So pallidiora, so paler than boxwood, and we see that pallidiora describes her face. So her face, paler than boxwood, and then gerens means wearing or having. So having a face paler than boxwood, she shuddered. And then instar here means just like or just as, and it takes the genitive. So just like the sea, just like water. And then quod here is the relative pronoun that agrees with ichorus. So just like the sea, which trembles when, cum here when, it is, when, or rather when the surface, the summum of it, when the top of it is disturbed with a gentle breeze.